He comes across a little bit arrogant sometimes in some of his videos, but he's not.
Hey guys, it's Jason Lanier here. I just wanted to share a video with you guys and talk to you real quick about my recent shoot and meeting with Ken Wheeler, the angry photographer. There's been a good amount of chatter about this encounter between the two of us, and I thought it'd be great for me to be able to answer some questions that have been floating around out there. I posted on Ken's YouTube page, I posted on my YouTube channel, I posted on Facebook and on Instagram, telling people that if they have any questions to post the comments there and I'll answer those questions as best I can. People want to know about this and how did it come to fruition with two guys who were at odds online. And I wanted to start off by saying a few things that are very important. Number one, my reaching out to Ken was genuine. If I feel like I'm ever in the position to be able to be of assistance to anybody, I do it. Number two, this was not initiated or instigated by any sponsors, not even close. For those who've watched the videos, you'll know that I was already in West Virginia. I noticed that Ken had done a review on the Sony A9, and honestly, I saw Ken change a little bit. You know, over the years, Ken's been pretty harsh to Sony, and I saw a guy who, to my knowledge, had never taken out a Sony camera to review it, and this is the first time that he actually took the camera out and reviewed it. Regardless of what he said good or bad about the camera, I was impressed that he had decided to do that, to do something different. And I decided, you know what, I can be different too. So I reached out to Ken to try to see if we could find some common ground. I emailed him and asked him how he felt about me coming down to see him. And he proceeded to give me his phone number. And at 2 in the morning, he and I had about a 35-minute conversation, and we agreed that it would be good for us to meet. So fast forward 2 days later, I'm driving from West Virginia to Lexington, Kentucky to meet with Ken. We decided that the first day we would just get together at Murphy's Camera, and we met inside there, and I spoke to the folks there at Murphy's Camera who honestly say very nice things about Ken. And we chatted for maybe 45 minutes before we turned the cameras on. For those who don't know that initial sit down inside of Murphy's Camera, I had absolutely no crew there. It was filmed using 3 cameras. We mic'd up both me and Ken, and we shot it in the store. Nobody was watching it. I wanted our initial conversation to be something where we could both feel like we were talking to each other but still film it, so we could share some of our common ground with you guys. Following that, we agreed to do a shoot. I want to make something clear. There were no preconditions to doing the shoot. I just told him that, you know, if he felt comfortable with it, I could bring a model down and I could find a few people to roll some video on us. I thought it would be easiest for him to have as little production crew as possible. All I did was put out a call to some of my followers and said, hey, if anybody's available to come down and help out with this shoot, please do. What I did was I had 2 of my followers show up. I put the A7R II in one of their hands and the A7S II in the other's hands without any gimbals or anything. We just filmed it. If you may notice, some of the footage is a little bit shaky for that reason. We met, we had the model come down, her name is Tiffany, and we proceeded to do a shoot. There were no preconditions. I didn't know what Ken was going to bring. I don't think he knew what I was going to bring. All of my gear was packed up in the back of my rental car. I honestly didn't think I'd have enough time to take a lot of my gear out. And to be honest with you guys, I didn't want to do what I normally do, which is I bring reflectors and diffusers and high-speed sync gear. I had all of it sitting in the car. I chose not to bring it out because, again, I didn't want a big production. And to be candid with you, I thought maybe the Kentucky Horse Park would forbid or look down on us setting up light stands. I didn't think they would go for it. At the beginning of the video, I made the statement that normally I would diffuse the light, and that's the truth. Normally I would have used one of the 2-stop diffusers that I like to carry around, or I would have used high-speed sync flash. So I just decided to shoot it with natural light. Ken had something that he calls the beauty box that he's created, and he decided to shoot with that for some of the shoot, and then the other part of the shoot he decided to shoot natural light. My intention was to spend a day with him, to share the shots, and go from there. At the end of the day, Ken felt very comfortable sharing his shots, and he said so in the video, which is why I put them in the video. I honestly believe with my whole heart that Ken wants to share what he knows. Do I expect all of us to kumbaya and the whole photography universe to come together after this video? No, not in any way, shape, or form. I'm just trying to do my part in my little tiny spot in the photography world to set a good example. I want people to feel like there's hope. I want people to feel like there's a reason for them to create. I want people to feel like what they have inside of their soul should be shared. I am going to do everything I can in my power to help other people. I just am. And I'm sure that my detractors will remain. But I'll tell you guys this much. If you meet me in real life, you'll see that none of us are who we sometimes are made out to be online. That's why I played the clip that I did at the beginning of this video. One thing I realized is I was starting to make some of the content in my videos for my detractors. I was making some of the content to push back on the naysayers, to push back on the trolls. And I was losing the fun of what I do. I was losing why I love doing photography. I was losing a piece of me, and I realized I'd lost enough, and it was time to get me back. But you know, when I watch a clip like I'm going to play for you now,
and when you get an opportunity to spend time with someone as inspirational as that, he's so humble with it as well. He's so well known, but he is so humble. He comes across a little bit arrogant sometimes in some of his videos, but he's not. In real life, he's fantastic.
and then you realize, you know what? You're not always making the right choices with the content you put out because it's giving the wrong impression. You know, and in some ways it's a new beginning for me to really raise my channel to a higher level and to kind of go above the fray. Am I going to stop speaking against things that are wrong? No, I'm not. Am I going to speak up when I think something needs to be said? Yes, I am. I will say there are many, many people, the vast majority of those, who write negative comments, who do not have the courage to do what Ken did. That I believe. There are many out there who don't have the courage to show up on a shoot, know that your images are going to be posted, know that you're being filmed, and have the courage to do that. So Ken, I give you props. I did offer Ken the opportunity to include his comments on the video. With this, like he could film something and I would attach it into this video, and he felt that what I had to say would cover it. This is going to be the start of what I do on my channel. You know, I am a Sony shooter. I'm a Sony artisan of imagery, as you guys know. And being a Sony shooter, I'm always going to shoot Sony. You know, I was the same when I shot Nikon. I don't switch around brands and stuff. When I'm shooting a system, I shoot a system. But, you know, there are ways for me to be able to share content and show that we can get beyond the gear by bringing other shooters into my channel, which I think is fantastic. That was one of the ways to do it with the Fuji GFX with Ken. And I've said this countless times, guys. I believe all brands have something to offer, and I really believe that. And I believe that having all the brands that we do enables us to be able to push our manufacturers to give us some of the options that we desperately need. So I think it's great that we have competition. So over the course of time, I'm going to create programs and opportunities for others to join me on my channel to shoot with me with different gear, different techniques, different everything, and we're going to have a great time with this. I don't think it needs to be a shootout. I mean, I think you guys know my competitive spirit. I wouldn't mind a shootout, but I think at the same time, if we frame it as a shootout, it turns into a nastier thing versus two dudes going out and having a great time. For the rest of you guys out there who would love to get out there and shoot with me and we film something for my channel, we're going to make that opportunity possible. You know, for the shoot with Ken, to be honest with you guys, I think it cost me over $1,500, my money, no sponsor money, for me to go out there and do that shoot. Am I going to do that for everybody? No. Ken and I had a long history, and it's something that I felt was a worthwhile investment. You know, other folks out there, if I happen to be in your area, you're in my area, so on and so forth, we can make it happen. You know, we can definitely look at those opportunities, and I'm going to open up something on my website. It isn't available now. And if I think it's an opportunity where we can get together and share something that the photography community would benefit from, then I would definitely love to do that. If you're another YouTuber or somebody out there, I especially would love to collaborate with other YouTubers. Why? It's great, guys, because our followers can see different things and be exposed to different aspects and different kinds of photography. So if you guys have something you think that would be fun to share on my channel, share on yours, let's do it. With all that being said, let me get to the computer and answer some of the questions that you guys have out there regarding this shoot. If I feel that some of the questions are redundant, meaning it was asked someplace but I kind of answered it already, so if somebody asked it on Facebook but then it was answered with a question from YouTube, then I'm not going to cover it again. Also, if I feel like a question is put in there to humiliate somebody, especially Ken, I will not cover that. I'm not here to humiliate anyone. If it's meant to humiliate me, I may cover it just because, well, I'm still going to have fun with you guys. All right, so I had Anthony Calderon ask, will there be any future collaboration anytime soon? Absolutely. With Ken or anybody else, if you guys want to collaborate, I'm game. Absolutely. Tim Searles asked, if anything, what do you think you or your followers would get out of more meetings with Ken? Number one, we get fun. I think my interactions with Ken were very fun. They were fun for me, and I think a lot of people would agree that Ken's a funny guy. And I think Ken has a lot of technical knowledge to provide. I think I'm definitely I'm more comfortable shooting, and Ken is definitely very knowledgeable when it comes to gear and elements and lenses and all that other stuff. Justin Prim asks, what other photographers would you like to do the same thing with? Tons. Frono's Photo, Matt Granger, Tony and Chelsea, you name them, I'll do it. There's a lot of great guys and gals out there that I'd love to collaborate with. I think it's great if we see the people who are out there on YouTube and we see them come together, and I'm very fortunate that I travel so much that I get to have the opportunity to be close to people. So if any of these folks want to collaborate with me, I'll certainly be reaching out to some as well, but if people want to collaborate with me, let's do it. Estuardo Gamarro asks, not necessarily relating to photography, but what is the most important thing you learned from meeting with Ken? I learned that people are different in real life than they are on YouTube sometimes. Ken is especially different, and he's very calm and mellow. And I know that, one thing that I learned from this was, if I'm answering a detractor of mine in one of my videos and I'm going hard at them or saying something, or I'm just not mentioning anybody by name, but I'm saying something and addressing a certain topic, that's the first time somebody may be watching one of my videos. So their first assessment of me may be, well, geez, who is this guy? Why is he so angry? Or what's he doing? That's something that I learned from this. So I learned, don't let that be their first impression. Be very careful with that first impression. The model kept saying to Ken, I thought you were the angry photographer. You're not angry at all. And I think even he learned in that sometimes those perceptions that we put out can lead people to wrong conclusions. And so I learned to be even more careful with what I'm presenting out there to the world. Tony Grizier asked, sorry if I mispronounced people's names, how did you keep yourself from giving him pointers while shooting? That's not my place. If somebody wants pointers from me, they can ask, but I'm certainly not going to assume that somebody needs my assistance. That is pretty arrogant. And so I give advice and help to somebody who asks for it. I never force my knowledge on people. I think that that's the epitome of arrogance, and I wouldn't do that. Cameron Eric, did he send you raw files from his shoot? No. Ken posted the shots on his Flickr account. They're high-res JPEGs. They're very big JPEGs. And so he posted them up on Flickr and told me to grab them from there, and so that's what I did. 2 questions from Max Chowdhury. What is Ken's experience in actual shooting? I don't think I've been able to figure this out. And what do you think he will be able to add to any future collaboration projects or people? I've already answered future collaborations. As it relates to Ken's actual experience in shooting, I think it would be misinformed for me to comment on that, only because I don't know Ken's resume. When I met with him, I didn't ask him for his resume. I just went out and shot with him. Darren Fellows asked, how awkward was the initial meet? I think both of us wondered what it was going to be like when we first met up. I was actually sitting in the parking lot at Murphy's Camera, and Ken pulled up, and he pulled a space away from me, and we both got out, and so our initial meetup was in the parking lot. And then we walked into the camera store together, we shook hands, and we just started talking shop. Ken offered to help me with everything, setting up, carrying bags, everything, from the get-go. If you were to learn anything from this experience, it's like once you get past brands and gears and all this other stuff, just get back to photography. Matthew Fry asks for another video, why don't you do a Sony Artisan, a Nikon Ambassador, and a Canon Explorer of Light? Each choose a scene and then use the same camera. I think each of us, if we were representing brands, that we would shoot our respective brands, but it would be fun, and I'd be totally game for that. Dougie Farrelly Silver Screen said, did he say he learned anything from you? No, he never said he learned anything from me, and he doesn't have to. But I just based on our conversations, I think he had a good time. Did he ask you or give you any advice? Nope, we didn't ask or give any advice to each other. Question 3, did he edit his own photos? No, his shots, according to Ken, were unedited. I think he converted them from RAW to JPEG. If I'm not mistaken, they were definitely JPEG. I just don't know if he shot JPEG or if he shot RAW, but from what he said, they were straight out of the camera. James Casino asks, as you stated in the video, your gear was packed up and you had to leave shortly after the video. If you had more time, and to be fair to Ken, what would you have done differently with a couple extra hours? I probably just would have brought some more assistance and set up some more gear, diffusers, reflectors, that kind of stuff. But again, I also didn't want to come to a scenario with gear that I'm very comfortable with and the other shooter isn't. So I think for maybe a future video, I think what I've learned is maybe do a video where we agree on what gear we should bring, so that way we each have optimal shooting environments. I want to say that shooting in these conditions was pretty much the worst time of day to shoot. It was very horrible light. There weren't really any clouds in the sky. We had no cloud cover, no diffusion. The only way to get any sort of blockage was by shooting in the shade, which is why you saw that I chose that almost all the time. Again, I would have shot with the diffuser all day long, and I just had to find shade and shoot. So it's a very difficult lighting scenario that we shot at, to be honest with you guys. So yes, I definitely would have brought diffusers. Did I mention diffusers? Yeah, I would have brought those because it would have made a big difference. Darnell Norris says, did you discuss his exposure with him? No, wasn't my place. What did you expect from his images before you actually saw them? I honestly had no idea. So, you know, nobody has really seen a lot of Ken's shots, so being able to get out there and have him shoot was good. I think it's good for him to get out and shoot. So no, I had really no idea, no expectations. I didn't know what he would produce. Jeff Jeter, would you consider taking Ken on as an assistant? I would consider taking anyone on who I can have a good time with and who can be helpful to me. And, you know, if Ken is ever in the area and wants to assist, he's always welcome. All right, this is a great question. Varun Kamal says, hi, Jason. Why weren't you even trying to shoot well? Why were you shooting so slackly? Yet some of your pictures turned out great. Some didn't, but that was because I really could see you weren't trying at all. This is not how you shoot. This is how you shoot when you're testing the AF on a camera or lens, not when you actually are creating art. My question is why? I think I've answered this in some ways, but again, guys, if I was shooting this for a paid job, I would not have shot at natural light. No way. If I was shooting this for a paid job, I would have shot it with a diffuser, high-speed sync, and a reflector. Absolutely, hands down. The light was way too harsh. There was only so much I was going to be able to pull out of the camera and the lens. I thought the lens did a great job, and the camera did as well. But light is light. Bad light is bad light. Good light is good light. And so for me to get the most out of this shoot, I would have brought out high-speed sync flash, a diffuser, and a reflector. I would have diffused the sun, used it as a fill light, and I would have used the high-speed sync as a key. And the shots would have been ridiculous, to be honest with you. Just think of it from the flip side. If I had brought all of that out, 36-inch beauty dish like the Rapid Box XL, and then I bring out the Westcott Illuminator diffuser, and then I bring out X, Y, and Z, and Ken can't use some of it, not because I wouldn't share, but because the flash may not fire on his system. He's shooting with a Fuji, it's not going to trigger, so on and so forth. Then people are going to say, well, geez, you used this high-speed sync flash, he used nothing. That wasn't very nice, Jason. I didn't want any of that. So I went as low-key as possible. And I also think it's a good representation of what you would do when you have horrible light and you don't have any lights with you. you have to turn your model's face towards the light and try to make do. So could this have been better? Absolutely. There's hands down, it could have been better. And the way it could have been better was by doing everything that I just discussed. Bjorn Bouge Solvik says, hello Jason, why did you not test the Fuji camera when you had a chance? Because I'm not a Fuji shooter. I have nothing against the guys and gals out there who test a bunch of different products. That's not really my channel, guys. My channel isn't out there to test every product that's available to the market. I think there's a lot to be learned from people who specialize in something. What I'm going to do is bring other shooters into my channel who shoot different systems so you guys can get exposure to what other folks out there are doing. But in regards to, me shooting it, I'll just be honest with you guys. There's nothing contractually that stops me from doing it. I shoot what I shoot. I did the same when I shot Nikon. I'm doing the same now when I shoot Sony. All right, guys, these are some of the questions on my Instagram page. Corey1022, were you impressed with the Fuji GFX? It's too big of a rig for me. It looks like it's a mighty beast. But again, I left my bigger DSLR medium format days behind me. And so I'm sure it produces amazing images, but just the overall size of it, it seems 3 frames a second. I mean, kind of my minimum to shoot is 5 frames a second. So those are my impressions. Take them for what you will. Photography Blue Anchor says, Jason, did you ever shoot with a Polaroid 600? No. Brandon Cole, when are you coming to Virginia Beach and when are we going to have a shootout? It'd be great. It'd be great. Anybody who wants to shoot with me, if we can make it happen, we will. But I'm a busy man, so we just got to make those things happen. So some of you guys, if you want to shoot with me, don't forget, you have to make an effort too. So come to where I'm at. I can't fly all over the world spending all my own money shooting with everyone else. I'd love to be able to do that, but you guys, try to find out where I'm at. We can shoot. Make it happen. Damn it, Diaz says, I know you don't want to really critique his work, but how do you feel about his photos overall? I don't think his flash was firing all the time. I only say that after having looked at the images. I mean, some of the images the flash definitely fired. Others, it doesn't look like it did. So I don't know. When I first switched to Sony, finding high-speed sync options was hard. You kind of had to jimmy rig everything. And I don't know if that's what Ken's doing with the Fuji, but Fuji is where Sony was in regards to flash options maybe a year or two ago. Like a year or two ago with Sony, I was having to jimmy rig systems and use this trigger with this PC sync cable. And I kind of feel like that's where Fuji's at right now. I think over time that will change just like it did for Sony. Marie Win 54 says or asks, did you make any suggestions to Ken before your shoot? No, I did not. And were his photos post-processed at all? Straight out of the camera for both of you? No, his were not post-processed according to Ken, and I take him at his word. Mine were post-processed. I am a professional shooter. It's what I do, so I finish my work. And it's another lesson I learned online a while ago is, sometimes, same thing back to what I said with first impressions. If I posted straight out of the camera shots, and I do post them on my Instagram page and stuff, but if I did whole videos with straight out of the camera shots, somebody could be coming to my YouTube channel for the first time and see that and say, well, geez, this is his finished work. And so being that I am paid for my work, I need to produce finished work, and so that's what I choose to do. There were no preconditions on how much we could or couldn't edit. That was totally up to both of us to decide, and Ken chose to do what he did, and I decided to do what I did. Centerfire Photo asks, would you go shoot something other than portraiture with him? Yeah, I would, and I would with anybody else, to be honest with you guys. So, I've shot a lot of different things over the years, from, look at my portfolio, to urbex, to wildlife, to sports, to a lot of different things. So I'm kind of game to shoot anything. So if you guys have an idea out there, you want to shoot it together, and I think it'll work best for everything that we're doing, yeah, let's do it. Mike Fitness and Photography, do you use actions? No, I don't. Number 2, how do you make it look so damn easy to produce fantastic photos? Well, thank you. That's a lot of practice. And 3, can I sleep on your sofa and intern with you for a month? I'm free July 10th through August 10th. No, you may not sleep on my sofa. I'm sure you'd be a wonderful assistant and help, but I just can't have random people and strangers on my sofa. I wish I could. I'm sure you're a wonderful guy. I'm sure you are. So those are on my Instagram page. Now I'm going to check YouTube. Okay, so these are the questions on my YouTube channel. Philip asks, with Ken's camera lens combination, how would the composition of your shots have been different compared to your own shots taken with 70-200? What would you have done differently? Yeah, I mean, the shots are definitely going to look different between a 70 to 200 and what Ken was shooting. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ken was shooting something around a 20 to 50 millimeter equivalent, if I'm not mistaken. I know I'm off by a little bit on that, but that's I think it was in that range. And it's definitely going to be different. The compression, I mean, I was shooting with a great lens, and I'm sure his lens is great too. But it is very different. So again, we were able to shoot with whatever we wanted. I only took one lens. I think he had a couple lenses, if I'm not mistaken. He had a camera bag with him. I didn't even take my backpack. I literally just took the one camera, the one lens. I left everything else in the car. That was it. Were you a bit nervous this would be the one time your camera would break down? Not at all. Not at all. Why? I've never had one of my Sonys break down, so I wasn't nervous at all about it. Were you as disappointed as I was to not see Phony Fanboy? I was really hoping you'd hide in that bag of Ken's. Yeah, I was. I asked Ken to bring out the Fanboy. For those who don't know, that's the sock puppet that he's done that wears a fedora and looks like me and talks like me. And yeah, I told Ken to bring it out. Ken didn't want to, which is his choice, but I thought that would have been really funny for me to do it, for me to actually talk to Fanboy. You asked Ken what he disliked about Sony. I own the A7R II, and I really, really wish for 3 features. Electronic front curtain shutter to have an option to automatically disable beyond 1/2000th of a shutter speed. Yeah, that'd be cool. A split screen for when I magnify manual focus lenses. That would be awesome. Sony should do that. For crop mode to be video stills independent, so I can enable it for video but leave it disabled with stills. That would be awesome too. Hopefully Sony can do that. Romza asked, hey Jason, do you have any specs about the 6D2? No, I do not. Donna Jose says, why didn't you try Ken's camera with your own SD card to take some files home to see if you thought medium format has any advantages? Again, same reason. The kind of photography I do is not medium format photography. It's just not. So if I need really big files, I shoot my A7R II. Soli Cortez said, are you and Ken bros now? No, seriously, just curious why you made the decision to shoot natural light. Ken and I are definitely on much better terms than we were before. There's no doubt about that. Why did I make the decision to shoot natural light? I've discussed that at length already. Hernier says, I just have to say kudos on keeping your composure and being really cool when interacting with him. How did you keep your composure when reviewing his photos? It wasn't hard for me to keep my composure. You guys, I teach photographers all day. It's what I do. I never judge somebody based upon their settings and what they're doing. I never think, oh my gosh, I can't believe he or she did that. I never ever do that. I just don't. I'm here to help people and not drag them down. I'm here to uplift and inspire people, not to discourage them. So keeping my composure was never and never would be an issue. It's just the truth. Now I've gone to Ken's channel, and I posted this 7 hours ago on his channel. The only person was James Ridley, who made a comment and said, Jason, thank you for, he said nice stuff. It's good that you two got together. You should do it again. Brother, kind regards. Yeah, if we can do it again, I'd love to. Last thing I'll say is this. As a photographer who puts a lot of stuff up on YouTube, people egg you on. But there's a certain segment of people, and Ken and I even spoke about this, who really egg you on. And what you realize after doing it for a little while is you're giving them what they want. Like you're attacking another photographer, you're attacking another person. And it's giving them some guilty pleasure, but you're doing it at your own demise. See, when I go on and attack another photographer, it may give a few folks out there a guilty pleasure, but what it does is it hurts my reputation. It brands me as somebody who attacks photographers. So while it may be fun for a small segment of people at home to watch people tear each other apart online, the person it's really hurting is the person like me who's sitting here filming YouTube videos for you guys. While there's a small segment of not only people but also YouTube and online personalities who benefit from tearing others down, like they grow their channels based upon trolling others, I also think it doesn't leave a good taste in the mouths of those who really value people and value human interaction. And beyond any of that, beyond how much it benefits my channel, good or otherwise, I don't want to be known as that kind of a guy. I just don't. My parents, I feel like I had great parents. And my dad, especially as a man, my dad had a huge impact on my life, as did my mom. But my dad, you know, you try to pattern yourself after your dad if you're a boy, especially if you had a great dad like I did. And my dad was very kind and very sweet and very gentle, unbelievably so. And I wouldn't ever want to aspire to be anything other than that. I'll always be outspoken. I'll always speak my mind. But I need to remind myself to do it in a way that uplifts and benefits and helps other people and does things that make people feel good about themselves. I want someone to have an interaction with me and they feel like they were edified and uplifted because they spent some time with me, not anything other than that. Even in some of my videos that, people said, I can't believe you made fun of somebody's accent. See, I've made the mistake of leaving in some funny content. You guys don't understand. Those are my friends and we tease each other about our accents. The problem is there's no context. I've left the context out of some of these videos. And so when you see us having fun, you don't know, maybe we've spent a year together and now I'm just teasing them in a video, but you haven't seen them in a video before. And I'm teasing them and you think, geez, I can't believe he's saying that to that person. You don't know that off camera we're teasing each other like crazy and having fun. And I've left that context out. And sometimes I leave context out and content out because I just think it's boring. And I'm trying to leave in stuff that I think my viewers will appreciate and have fun with. And unfortunately, sometimes that just leaves the viewer not understanding what's going on. And I'm going to be more careful of that. I'm going to provide a little bit more context or I'm going to try to leave out stuff that could be misunderstood. I want to do whatever I can with my channel and my fan base and my followers to set an example in the industry as to what we can be, to build each other up, to be that person who's watching this video who has no money, doesn't have any idea of how they're going to be a photographer, even though being a photographer may be their burning desire. I want to provide a roadmap for you to pursue your dreams. I really do. And I make mistakes and I'm not perfect, and I'm going to do everything I can to set a great example for the industry, not as a Sony shooter, but as a photographer. And I think that that's probably the most important thing that I can leave with the photography world, is leave everything that I have, leave it all out on there on the court, as they say. Anytime you try to make changes, there's people out there who will fight against you and they won't want you to change. They won't want you to be better. And I expect that, but I'm also hoping that there's a different wave of people that are going to like the positivity and they're going to like the energy. So you're going to see lots of fun stuff, me shooting with other photographers, 5-minute solo shoot challenges, less gear, more gear, all sorts of stuff to bring some real fun and pep and emotion to this channel. We've always had a lot of fun on this channel, but I want to make sure that we raise it to another level and be a good example for others. And if there are bullies out there, people doing shenanigans, don't worry. You'll still get a piece of what I think, but I'm going to do it in a way that's a little bit easier for people to understand. And last but not least, guys, I've always, from when I began, I've loved the gear that I've shot with, whether it was Nikon or Sony. If you look at my Nikon videos, I never bashed my cameras. I never said, oh, this camera sucks at this X, Y, or Z. I just love the gear I use. I view it as an extension of myself, and when it provides great results for me, I'm beyond thrilled with it, and I express that. I'm a very expressive person. So just understand that when you guys are watching the videos, it has nothing to do with being sponsored and has everything to do with loving what I'm doing, and I love the gear that helps me create the art that's inside of here and here. So I hope that helps. So until next time, guys, keep shooting, never give up on your dreams. Find out what gear that works for you. Thank you, Ken. Thank you for showing the courage that a lot of other people out there don't have. And remember, you only have one chance to get it right. If you guys haven't already, make sure to click on subscribe and click on notifications so you can be updated every time we release a new video. And guys, let me know what you want to see on the channel, and we'll do our best to bring it to you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Also, guys, a big thank you to Andy Hornby for letting me use that clip of him that he recorded at my London workshop. Really appreciate it. Make sure to go and click on that video. I'll post a link to it in the description below. And to give him a follow and a like and a subscribe to his channel, because he's a really cool dude. And I really wanted to thank him for allowing me to use that footage.
Have a look at his video, see what you think. Give him a thumbs up, give him a like. Subscribe to him because he's an amazing photographer. If you're into wedding photography, if you're into portraits, anything like that, fashion, there's nothing you can't learn from Jason Lanier. This workshop has been amazing. For anyone aspiring to do anything similar in like wedding photography or anything like fashion photography, I couldn't speak more highly of Jason Lanier. Head over to his channel, subscribe, and you won't be disappointed. His photography is unbelievable. It's amazing. And when you get an opportunity to spend time with someone as inspirational as that, he's so humble with it as well. He's so well known, but he is so humble. He comes across a little bit arrogant sometimes in some of his videos, but he's not. In real life, he's fantastic.